I went for a trail tour this morning. I'm not going to show the whole trip, but I'm going to point out a couple things of interest. I'm crossing the bridge here, and it kind of looks like there's a tree growing out of the bridge. This is actually quite common. I'm not sure how they surface the bridge. I know that it's railway ties underneath. They put something across so that the little tiny bits of gravel don't fall through. Yeah, every once in a while a hole will form and all the gravel will just kind of fall away and leave this big gaping hole. So what happens is somebody will grab a rock or a stick or something and they'll stick it in the hole so nobody trips over it or steps in it or whatever. And this bridge, I don't recall, actually I think there was a hole in this bridge one other time, but the first bridge after the river bridge, I'm pretty sure it was that one that goes over the flood drainage canal area. It was susceptible to getting big holes in it, and they resurfaced it a few years ago. They had it completely blocked off. They called the gravel off. It was just the bare railway ties at that time. And I was on bike at that point in time when I went through, so I was able to cross it with my bike. I wouldn't be able to get the scooter through it though. So that's just what that's all about. I actually see that quite often. Then you get towards the end of the trail, and that is a ruffed grouse. This actually surprised me, because I normally don't see these birds out in the open. They're very, very elusive, I guess you could say. If I can find an audio sample of what they sound like beating their wings, that's their mating call, which is really, really cool, but it's really bassy. Excuse me, it's really bassy. You can actually feel the thumping. It's kind of cool. But normally don't see these birds, and when they get disturbed near their nest, there's several birds that have different tactics to luring you away from that area before they make their presence known. Grouses are kind of like that, the ruffed grouses anyways. You get close to them and they'll just silently sneak away, and just at the last second, when you're within 10 feet of them or something, you don't even know they're there, all of a sudden they'll just take off, and just the beating of their wings is such a deep bass, it just scares the absolute crap out of you. I've had that happen to me so many times. But I've never heard them at night, so I don't know if they just kind of stay in place and hide, or what the case is with that. But seeing them out in the open like this in the daytime, that's kind of a special moment for me, because it just doesn't happen. So I did find some audio. It's on allaboutbirds.org. And to truly appreciate this, you need to crank up your bass. This is really something. When you're out in the wild and you hear this, naturally, you can actually feel the beating. It's really something else. So if you'd like to actually watch the birds flapping their wings making this sound, you can just search ruffed grouse drumming on YouTube. There's lots of videos on there about that. It's quite a unique bird. So now we get into the main topic of this video. We get this weather statement. A soaker on tap for the upcoming weekend. A low pressure system developing over Colorado tonight is forecast to track northeast across the Great Lakes and central Ontario into Quebec Saturday night and Sunday. The latest computer models continue to show that the system may bring in a significant rainfall to the region Saturday night and Sunday. Although they have trended slightly farther south today, including the Kincardine to Orillia corridor, most likely regions for the heavier rainfall appear to be the Bruce Peninsula to Parry Sound to Petawawa swath, where rainfall totals of 30 to 50 millimeters of rain is possible, with somewhat lighter amounts north or south of this band. So, I can get some rain. Maybe a little, maybe a lot. It's kind of been the story all year. But that isn't the issue. I go to forecast page, and right at the very bottom it says top stories. Powerful fall storm to hit Ontario. Here's what to expect. Now this is what gets my attention. And this is going to prompt me to do something to prepare, because it comes with a threat to my shelter and I need to take care of it before this gets here. But here's why I'm concerned with it.
A classic fall storm will track across Ontario this weekend, bringing strong winds, some heavy rain, and even some wet snow across parts of northern Ontario. Now, the weekend will start out dry across most of the province, but as we go through the afternoon and evening, a warm front will start to lift north, and we'll see widespread rain spreading across much of Ontario. The developing system will track to Sault Ste. Marie Saturday night and into Quebec during the day on Sunday. Across northern Ontario, the rain will mix with and even change over to wet snow in some areas. Meanwhile, across the south, ahead of the cold front, we will actually have several hours of dry weather and some late summer temperatures. But as the cold front sweeps across the region, we will see a period of rain, and even a thunderstorm is possible as we go through the afternoon and into the evening for eastern Ontario. Now, behind that front, some strong gusty winds and falling temperatures. But first, let's take a look at the rainfall forecast. Widespread rainfall totals of 25 to 50 millimeters are likely, especially north of the 401. We'll see slightly lesser amounts into southwestern Ontario and into Niagara. And yes, we are talking some wet snow for parts of northern Ontario. From between Hearst over to Earlton and over to Chapleau, some areas could pick up a coating of snow, several centimeters of snow. Could even see flakes as far south as Searchmont. One of the big stories with this system will be the widespread strong winds. Ahead of the cold front, winds will be from the southwest, gusting 60 to 80 kilometers per hour. Strong winds with the cold front, then turning to the northwest behind the front. And across southern Ontario, gusts of 60 to 90 kilometers per hour are likely. Could see a few reports of gusts up near 100 kilometers per hour. Those winds will be diminishing as we go into Sunday night. Temperature is a big story, quite a contrast, southern Ontario versus northern Ontario. Sunday morning will be very warm across southern Ontario, exceptionally warm for mid-October, but then falling temperatures behind the front. It looks like that front will come through the Toronto area during the early afternoon and then reaching eastern Ontario, Ottawa, and Montreal late in the afternoon and into the evening. And we will certainly have falling temperatures behind the front with those strong winds. But as you look at high temperatures on Sunday, keep in mind from Toronto, Barrie to the west, these highs will be reached earlier in the day in the lower 20s and falling through the teens during the afternoon. In eastern Ontario, those highs will be reached during the afternoon, and with some bonus sunshine, a few spots could even reach into the mid-20s. We expect mid-20s around Montreal on Sunday, but what a change for Monday. Temperatures struggling to reach the lower teens. However, this cool down is not going to last all that long. Much warmer temperatures on the way for late week. We're going to see a return of 20-degree temperatures late week and into the weekend, all the way up towards Moosonee.
So our roller coaster ride of wet and dry and warm and cool is continuing, apparently. They've updated the weather statement, adding strong winds to it. And it's the wind that's got my concern right now, because I have another tree threatening the shelter. Actually, I think it's part of the same tree, actually. There's a tree branch that's growing out over top of it, and it's kind of reached its way down to it, and it's actually brushing against the top of it. And that's just as is. We start getting some rain or even wet snow, which is getting closer to us, by the way. Then the tree branch is going to be bending downwards from the weight, and with the wind blowing it around, eventually it's going to come to a point where it's going to put a hole in the shelter. So I need to get rid of that tree branch, and I'm not asking for help yet, because at this point I think I know I can do it myself. I'm going to tie a rope to it, and then tie that rope to another branch further away, so when I cut it, the idea is it'll just kind of swing away from the shelter when it comes down. So I start working on this, and Cody shows up, and then all of a sudden it becomes another neighborhood project, and everybody pitches in and does it for me. So no complaints there. It's kind of funny how that happens. So that's my job today. Get rid of that tree branch and hopefully save the shelter. I'm having this problem with this tree out back here. It's I think it's called Manitoba maple. They're weed trees. They grow like crazy. You can't get rid of them. If you cut them down and you leave a stump, then the stump sprouts 5 or 6 more trees. It's just crazy. You can't get rid of them. But when I built the shelter, it was an open area here. Everything was nice. And a year later, it's this huge branch hanging down over top, and it's been touching the top of the shelter. I've been wanting to get rid of it, but we don't know what's happening with that. Not getting anything done right now. But we got our big storm coming this weekend. It's Saturday today. We got a storm front coming through. We've already got some rain. Got a bit of a break, so I'm hoping to get this done before the rain comes back. And then starting tonight and overnight and all day tomorrow, we're supposed to be getting really severe winds. So I have to get this branch down. Biggest problem I'm having right now is how to actually cut it down without it falling onto the shelter. So I was out here this morning about 4 o'clock, 4:30 something, before the sun came up anyways, and I was looking at it, and I think I have an idea how I'm going to fix it. It's a theory. It's not guaranteed, it's a theory. So I've only got a small ladder, and I shouldn't be up on a ladder right now, but you know, it is what it is. But this is the pole that I had for clearing the snow off the roof of the shelter last year. The end of it broke, so I duct taped my saw onto it. So that's what I'm going to reach up to cut the branch with. Perfect, just the way I'd planned. I'm not sure if it would have gone that way if I'd done it myself, of course. Who knows what would have happened. But it's finished, another job done, another potential disaster averted.